Listening to us right now is the award-winning Classic FM book on review, and today we're looking at a book titled The Ikoyi Princess, and this again is one in the Ayo Kensington love story series. Yes, from the Lagos Love Journals. This particular book is in continuation of the second in the Ayo Kensington love story, like I said, and it chronicles the journey of Bella. I do not know. I'll be asking the author, do we consider Bella to be a JJC? Well, we'll find out just in a bit, because she just recently discovered that she is part of a powerful and wealthy dynasty after years of unanswered questions. However, she falls in love with the most, you know how they say about love, that sometimes you find love in the most unexpected places. But where she found hers is even beyond unexpected place, you know. But then we'll be looking at all of this because there's a whole lot of drama. There's outright blackmail, there is betrayal would come, lies would come, and of course, there'll be unearthing family secrets that have been buried for so many decades. You know how they say that sometimes one person can just come in and then the entire dynamics will change. That is seen in this book. She has a, well, what will I call the background? I don't know. But one thing is sure, we all carry one baggage or the other in life. We shouldn't lord our own baggage, over others, because the truth of the matter is, once we open our ears to other people's baggage, we probably want to hide ours, So everyone has a baggage, everyone has a pain, everyone has gone through one thing or the other, yeah? But it's in the management of the pain, is in the management of whatever experience that you have that will stand you out. My pastor will always say that, you said that you have gone through war, then let's show me this car. If you have seen quite a lot, then let me see this car, So that's the way life is. So this book is power-packed. It's a book that you must have. We have the author join us. She is a marketing and communications professional and writer. And then her writing focuses on the journeys of women in living, in learning, and in loving. She is self-acclaimed romantic and enjoys writing about love. She is married, and I'm thanking God for that. She said she is an acclaimed romantic. We'll just place a call to the husband to find out, but it's fine. I hope he's not listening though. It is a pleasure to have Layemi O-I. Again, great to have you, Layemi O-I.
Good evening. Thank you for having me again. Yeah. It's good to be back.
You're looking good.
Thank you very much.
You're looking very good.
Thank you.
All right, Layemi, this again is the second in the series, Ayo Kensington. Now, while I was reading this book, no form of, they're not connected in any way. They're not. But while I was reading this book, the birthday of, and by the way, happy birthday, Daddy, Koya. He was 85. But while I was reading this book, the birthday flashed my mind. Where you find, for decades, you have a family history of tenacity, of business acumen, of successful, playing in a very successful arena. And then suddenly somebody comes in, and then the entire dynamics change. So as I was reading your book, the birthday will flash. I say, I hope it's not the same for all weather people, where someone will just come from, and then the entire dynamics will change. Again, like I said, let me put that caveat. They're not connected in any way. I'm just thinking, because we're talking about very powerful, and I love the word that you used in your book. You used the word dynasty. Yeah. That means it transcends one particular person, it transcends one generation. So it's something that's been, So let me say congratulations to you again on this.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great book. I'm sure you're expecting this. Are you the Ikoyi princess? Were you once the Ikoyi princess?
Well, not in that sense, but yes, I'm an Ikoyi princess. I claim Ikoyi.
But you're not Bella.
No, I'm not Bella.
How long did it take you to write this?
About 18 months. The first draft of the manuscript, yes. About 18 months.
So are you saying that right before this came, while you were writing the first, you knew how this would come out? Or it was after you're done with that?
To be honest, I didn't start out the trilogy as a trilogy. I started it out writing Angela Antike's story. But then there were so many plots that could still be unpacked. And then I felt like Bella had a lot. Because sort of the way her story ended in book 1, I just thought she needed an opportunity to tell her side of the story and then show her character a bit more. And that was where the idea for the trilogy came.
Okay. Because I was wondering when, the Ikoyi princess and Bella. So I was like, I mean, it could have been about, the first one is by Angela. Not just Angela, but we could see that the characterization of the first story. In fact, if you're not very careful, you might say that in the first story that you had more than one protagonist. The way you wrote it, everyone was handsome, kind of. But Basbos, the Duchess was doing, Angela was doing, the husband Tike was doing. So everybody was like, sure, you understand. But in this particular one, you focused squarely on Bella. Bella was the focus. In fact, it's in her eyes that we read the book. What's the idea behind the Ikoyi princess? Is it that you were looking at probably connecting with the Gen Zs, or let us know how Gen Zs think, how they, especially the ones that jackpot and then jab back in. Is it that you wanted to use that to let us know how Gen Zs think, how they see life, and how parenting can help? I don't know.
So, when the idea for the trilogy came, I just thought it would also be nice to have sort of like a transgenerational perspective. So you have Angela, who is your millennial, and then you have Bella, who is your Gen Z, and then you have the Duchess, who is a boomer, a baby boomer, yes. So it was just to also, put that perspective there, where all the women are from different times and different generations. So that sort of impacts the way they see the world and even their reactions. I know we're having a conversation before we went on air about, some of the things that you thought Bella could have done better. And I was explaining to you that a lot of those things is because of her age and life stage as well. So yes, it was just to show like a generational perspective across 3 generations of Kensington women.
Nice. All right, Tonya, you also read the book.
Absolutely.
We'll be coming to you just in a few clicks. Yeah, your first reactions on the book.
It was deep, engaging. You would practically want to see where Bella is taking us to. I was on the ride, on a cruise, while reading Ikoyi Princess. It's practically different from Lekki Bride.
Yeah.
Ikoyi Princess is a total different story, and it's something that you have a lot to learn from it. Mostly our young girls and boys that are coming up now. There is a lot a mother, a father will read from this, and you can actually decipher that this is what my child is up to, or this is what is in their head. So it's a book for all, not just the Gen Z. It's actually a book for all.
All right, but what you did, Layemi, is create a Gen Z Bella. But then we cannot specifically say that this is what Okechukwu is. What were you driving at with that? Do you understand? You understand what I'm saying? Okechukwu just came across as Okechukwu is someone that could cut across generations.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there is a Bella who is core Gen Z.
Yeah.
And then falls for someone who can cut across generations. Was that intentional?
So, if you look at the context when Okechukwu was telling his story as to why sometimes he was the way he was with Bella, he had to grow up very quickly. And so there were a lot of things that maybe his mates would have been doing or interested in that he didn't get the opportunity to really experience. Because very early on, his circumstances sort of made him just have to man up and take care of himself. And then he even had another person to eventually start taking care of right off the cuff. And I think that sort of made him seem a bit older. But I think he and Bella were sort of in the same age bracket.
I know,
think it was
but
about 4 years age
his
difference.
actions,
Yes.
his actions are like, this guy is too mature for, So I was thinking probably that was, and I thank you for explaining. I mean that puts it in perspective for me. Is that to say that Okechukwu was challenging for you to write? Because looking at Okechukwu, the way Okechukwu did it, the reason why I said it cuts across generation, you could see the Gen Z in him.
Yeah.
But then you could also see the maturity in him by telling her that, look, this is who I am, this is this. That usually doesn't happen. A lot of Gen Zs, for guys, would rather hide what they've done. And when you want to hit them with what you think they've done, they become aggressive. They don't want to listen. But Okechukwu's, well.
Yeah, so to be honest, Okechukwu was actually challenging to write because even just understanding how his mind works and then also putting in context that he did actually love Bella and he was trying to be a better person. So it was actually challenging to write, but I particularly like the way he evolved through the story. And also, you are very right, he was one person that was very quick to take responsibility. He wasn't perfect. In fact, in writing his character, there were a lot of times I was like, does this guy really deserve Bella? But at the end of the day, I think that I believe in second chances, and I think that if anybody deserved a second chance in the Ikoyi Princess, I think it was Okechukwu.
For me, Okechukwu is my number one character in the book.
Oh, nice.
My number one character.
Right.
And I love what you just said now, that if anyone is deserving of a second chance, if Bella is deserving of Okechukwu, I would say from my own end, Okechukwu is deserving of a better person than Bella.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah, you know why I said that? It's not often that you find a guy that will open up totally to you. There's something my dad would always say, and then substituted with what my mom would always say. My mom would always say that if you suspect somebody stealing something from your house, from your home, each time you go to work, the next time that you're going to work, when you lock your door, give the person your key to home. That day,
the stealing
will stop. So what am I bringing out? When you find someone who opens up to you, what that automatically means is, let's pray that you have a listening ear. What that person is indirectly telling you, look, this is my issue, this is my baggage. Can you help me to do better? Because if that person wants to continue in that baggage, in that thing, he won't tell you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the moment someone opens up and tells you everything and sees you as a lover, what that person is saying is, this is my vulnerability. Can you help me work on it?
Yeah.
That's what I feel. That's what I feel. That means the person has probably gotten to a point that, look, I want to stop this, but on my own, I cannot. So I need another person to help me do that. And which also explains why, if unfortunately the person now meets someone who cannot help the person becomes worse than, I don't know, is that explanation making sense?
Yes, I understand what you're saying. I think that a lot of times, like you said, and it's not just men. Women who are also, they find it very hard to be vulnerable. Everybody has their weaknesses. There's no relationship or marriage where you don't come in with some sort of baggage input. But I think that the most important thing is if you have somebody who is willing to walk through the journey with you. But again, I think for me, Okechukwu being your star character is because he admitted that he had baggage. So he was not even pretending as to what his issues were. And I think that sort of endeared him more to Bella, and Bella was committed to actually fixing the issues.
And another reason why he's also my star character is because, we've said one part. The second part of Okechukwu that you really don't find many of is the average guy sees a free girl. And what they will take the girl. You understand? But this is an Okechukwu who, in more than one occasion, had the opportunity with Bella, and yet said no. You don't find that. It's not. It takes a great guy to do that.
I think he had a lot of respect for Bella, and I also think that also showed a bit of a sense of his character as well. I don't think Okechukwu was somebody that wanted to earn everything that he had. He wanted to work hard. He wasn't somebody that he didn't even want handouts financially or anything. So he was somebody that had a perspective of, if I don't deserve this thing, or if I haven't done the work for it, then I don't want any handouts. And so even with Bella, he was very clear on the fact that I'm not here with you yet, and so I don't think we should cross these boundaries.
We'll see on the show that a nation that doesn't read cannot develop. We'll be taking our first song. The first song that we'll be taking, we won't be asking you to suggest. Rather, we'll be taking a song from the artist that you mentioned in your book.
Okay.
I won't tell you who the artist is, but welcome to the award-winning Classic FM Book on Review. Tonya, welcome as well.
Thank you so much,
And here's
Benji.
our first song. When we come back, we'll be coming back to the book, what the book is all about, the plot of the book. We'll look at characters of the book, and then we'll drive from there, yeah? My name is Benji. Welcome.
Hello,
It is
me. I was
I
wondering
think I
if
tried.
You had the entire album, the 25 album.
Yeah, I tried a bit more with mentioning songs.
Yes, yes. Hello is a song recorded by English singing songwriter Adele. released 23rd October 2015 by XI Recordings as a lead single from her third studio album, 25. Written by Adele and the album's producer, Greg Coslin. Hello is a piano ballad with soul influences, including guitar, and lyrics that discuss themes of nostalgia and regret. Upon release, the song garnered critical acclaim, with reviewers comparing it favorably to Adele's previous works and praised its lyrics, production, and Adele's vocal performance. It was recorded in a studio in London. We have Adele, Hello. As we look at a book titled The Ikoyi Princess, again, the second in the Ayo Kensington love story series. We have the author join us. Layemi, you'll be reading for us. Where are you reading from?
Page 19.
19, yeah? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're studying the third paragraph.
Yes, third part.
Another week.
Yes.
Please.
All right. Another week, another party. This time for an 8-year-old in Lekki and under considerable duress. Auntie Linda had sent me a reminder message every single morning up until that morning. So even if I wanted to get out of it, I couldn't have. What's the worst that could happen anyway? I go to the party, make Auntie Linda happy, meet the guy, and later find a way to let him down gently. Easy peasy. I stopped by a nail studio first. Afterwards, I headed to the mall for a gift for the birthday boy. Predictably, it was crowded. It was a Saturday afternoon after all. Finding a good parking spot became a Herculean task. I spent the next 30 minutes driving around, getting increasingly anxious that I was late for the party. Eventually, I saw a white Prado SUV pulling out of a space. I placed my foot on the pedal, twisted my steering wheel, and had moved maybe a meter when a black Mercedes SUV shot past me and stole my spot. The hell? I jumped out of my car and marched straight to the driver's side. The windows were tinted and something by Wizkid was blasting from speakers inside the car. I tapped my newly laid nails on the glass and waited for it to roll down. Once it went halfway, I flung up my hands in the air in exasperation. Dude, why would you literally drive past the waiting car and steal a person's spot? Have you no manners? Do you know how long I've been waiting here? The man in the driver's seat looked straight at me and shrugged. Sorry, didn't see you waiting. Really? How does that apology help the situation? Hey miss, do you mind stepping away from the door so I can get out of the car? Excuse me. Look, from your accent I can tell you are not from around here. This is Lagos. Things here move at a different speed than you might be used to. Better luck next time. He opened the door a fraction, forcing me to step back. I was stunned. That's it? That's your defense? He stepped out of the car and looked down at me. I say looked down because this guy was really tall and arrogant looking. Some might say handsome, but he was clearly poorly raised and a charlatan, so his features did not move me at all. I squared my shoulders and stepped up to him. I'll just say this since it seems no one has taught you. Don't judge people by their appearance. It shows poor breeding. You look at me and see an Americana, a JJC or whatever. I look at you and see a... I took another look at him, at his neatly trimmed afro and sideburns, his strong jawline, thick neck and broad as hell chest. He raised an eyebrow, waiting for me to say something. I see a vagrant who is clearly just enjoying his parents' money, I concluded weakly. A moment passed where he looked at me, amusement dancing in his eyes. He let out a hearty laugh and crossed his arms around his chest, drawing attention to the tight fit of the black t-shirt he had on and the expensive-looking gold bracelet on his right wrist. Obviously, I've offended you, but this, he swirled a finger around the space between us, is taking us nowhere. I took your spot. You've insulted me. Let's call it even, shall we? Have a nice life then. With that, he pushed past me and walked away. I stood there for a few seconds as rage and shame and confusion swirled in my head before I headed back to my car in defeat. It took another 10 minutes of driving around to find a spot, then another 45 minutes to find the right gift and pay for it. By the time I got to the party, I had missed the cutting of the cake, and the birthday boy barely acknowledged me when I tried to give him a hug. He was too busy with his friends. Aha, Bella, my darling, finally. Auntie Linda was tottering over in open-toed, high-heeled red sandals and a beautiful patterned satin blouse with a pussy bow neckline over blue jeans. I thought you were not going to come. How about Auntie? I said in my most convincing Nigerian accent. I wouldn't do that. Good, I trust you. Oh yeah, come. My brother-in-law Okechukwu is over there by the pool. She grabbed me by the wrist and basically dragged me through the other guests, the decoration and fixtures, the beach balls and bubbles and confetti. At the pool, she shoved me forward, standing behind me and holding my shoulders. Okay, she said loudly. A man turned. He had an afro and sideburns and a gold bracelet. Are you kidding me? This is the lovely lady I've been telling you about. Bella meets Okechukwu.
Wow. The book on review and the Ikoyi Princess, second in the Lagos Love Journal's love stories. Again, one of the Ayo Kessington. What was happening there?
So, Linda, that we discussed at length last week,
Yes.
Bella's stepmom's best friend, had been trying to matchmake her with her brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And then they had planned this grand meeting at her son's 8th birthday party. And so Bella had gone to the mall in Lekki to get a gift and had this encounter with this guy that she had called all sorts of names.
Including
at the mall.
charlatan.
Exactly. And then she gets to the party and then Auntie Linda introduces her to the same guy that she's just insulted a
Coincidence.
few minutes ago.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And so that's their first formal meeting.
Nice. All right. Who is Bella in this book? Can you just take us? Let's step back a bit. Who is
Okay.
Bella? Because this book is about Bella.
Yes.
Who is Bella in this book?
So Bella is an Ayo Kessington. I won't
Yeah.
give too much background
Yeah, of
into
course.
how
Yes.
she joined the family. She's just an Ayo Kessington daughter. Unlike Angela that we reviewed last week, who married into the family, Bella was actually born as an Ayo Kessington, and so she's just come back from America after living her entire life in America. She came back for her NYSC program and has been in Lagos for 2 years, still trying to sort of settle in. And yeah, this is her first real induction into Lagos boys in quotes. Yeah.
All right. Nice. Okay. Tell us about Linda. I mean, now you have said before now that Okechukwu most challenging for you to write. Yeah. Okay. So tell us about Okechukwu.
So Okechukwu he's a character that you start out being unsure of, but as he unravels in the story, you start to realize that he had a lot of baggage from his past. He had a lot of things that boys his age or men his age haven't really gone through, and he had to go through such things at a very early age. And I think that has sort of shaped his perception about life, and then also about love and women in general. I would say, now we'll use the term he was emotionally unavailable and also clearly had, commitment phobia. But all in all, like we said earlier, he was a very honest guy, very down to earth. And I like the fact that, he evolved in the story. And by the end, the Okechukwu we started out knowing, by the end of the book, is a completely changed man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I particularly love what you did with that character of Okechukwu because looking at Linda from your first book, no one would have expected that kind of Okechukwu with Linda. No one would have expected. Now, eventually, we now meet Okechukwu in your book. No one would have expected the Okechukwu that we met earlier in the book with the Okechukwu that we're closing the book with. I love what you did with that. There's a transition, and again, it also shows us that life through some certain things that we all, one way or the other, have been through stuff, But one other thing I'd like us to discuss about Okechukwu, had it been, it wasn't Bella. If he'd been our protagonist rather than Bella, had been someone that's probably loose, would you have given us the same Okechukwu that you gave us with Bella? Now, here's what I'm trying to say. I'm talking like a man now. And I need you to understand what I'm saying. Or else you might not get it. A guy, if I meet a loose girl, I'm not going to put seriousness in the way I see her and probably might not respect her. You understand? A loose girl that comes my way, I'll take advantage of. But then there are times when we see a girl who may be acting a bit, but we know that this person comes from a place of integrity. Maybe circumstance has pushed the person to a point. You find that the way we deal with that same person will be different from, are you getting where I'm going? So, but you did that with Okechukwu. And so in my mind, I was telling myself that this author is coming into our guy code thing, you know, and you did so well with it. You did so well with it because you also see the same Okechukwu with the ex. He feels free with the ex. They do all sorts of things, smoke possibly, you know, do all sorts of things. But when it comes to Bella, there's a place that he's placed Bella. So you find one Okechukwu with the ex and another Okechukwu with Bella. So that's a guy code thing. Don't mind me. So, but you understand what I'm saying. So I love what you do with that. Now tell us about Angela, because in this book she's a bit silent. Was that deliberate?
So I think Angela was, and it's funny that you say she was silent because I think that in the times when,
not totally silent, but
yeah, because I think in times when Bella needed motherly advice or like a big sister, I think Angela actually played her role as Bella's stepmom excellently well. I think she gave her a lot of sound advice. Whether Bella took the advice is now a different thing, but I think she was just a steady source of support and a very present support system for Bella. And then also let's not forget that Angela she was still recovering from her mess of a few years, so I think she was just trying to be a bit careful, you know, with Bella. They had like major issues just leading up onto Bella's story, so I guess maybe there was a bit of caution applied there as well.
One other person that he threw in our face is Yinka. Another very powerful family. Tell us about Yinka. Also tell us about the prof, the dad.
Okay, so I think the prof's story is very explicitly told in book 3, and then you begin to understand why Yinka felt the right or audacity to treat the Ayokesintins that way. There's a family history between the Ayokesintins and the Ayodejes. So I think Yinka, as we see, he starts out being the bad guy that everybody hated. In fact, up until, you know, towards the end of the book, Yinka appears as the villain. But again, Yinka is also a victim of
going through
circumstances because he's part of a very powerful family. His father is, like, I'll just say his father is the male version of the Duchess, who has said, this is the path you are going to follow and you have no say in this. This is what you have to do as my first son and you will do it. So I think that Bella was just caught in the crossfires. Yinka was a pawn in his father's story, and by extension, Bella, you know, got caught up in all of that. But I like the fact that Yinka also stood up for himself at the end of the book. Even though it took, you know, external forces to get him to see that you are your own person. You can't live in your father's shadow, you know. But I admire Yinka for, I mean, even trying to clean up the mess that he inadvertently created. So
two people I want you to discuss with me. Two of them played initially they are in the book, but a bit shrouded initially. But at the right time, they came out and they took a stand. Tell me about Essay. Tell me about Adelbi.
Okay, so Essay is Okechukwu's girlfriend from university.
No, Adelbi, Nika's...
Oh, Tony.
Yes, no, Adelbi, yeah. Okay. Tell me about both of them. A bit shrouded initially, but as we grow in the book, we find women that can also stand and say, hey, you know, tell me about both of them.
Okay, so Essay is Okechukwu's ex-girlfriend from university, and they have a very, I think, a sort of bond that is not healthy. They've just refused. I won't say she has refused to let him go because Okechukwu too keeps going back. So they have this toxic bond that it's obvious that this is leading nowhere. It's obvious that we're not compatible, but I guess there's just sort of there's a familiarity there that causes them to just keep finding their way back to each other. And I think that at the end of the day, Essay does realize that her value and realizes that I'm not, you know, somebody that you can come back to when you have gone and, you know, the other relationship didn't work and then you want to keep coming back. So she eventually did come out of whatever hold that Okechukwu had on her. And then for Tony, I think Tony was also a victim of love because you love this guy, and he loves you. You know he does love you, but you can't stand against his family, and he can't stand against his family as well. So there was just some helplessness to Tony's side of the story. But at the end of the day, I'm happy the way things panned out for her.
Okay, two more people that you talk and you tell us, and then we'll move on. what you did with the Ayo Kensingtons, you kind of did with the Prof. In that, for the Ayo Kensingtons, the patriarch was maybe a bit quiet, a bit. But in between, we saw that he was able to come up at a time to say some certain things. One would have expected that power that he showed at that point to probably continue, but then it also fizzled out. Now flip it for the Prof. You also see that in their mom, in their matriarch. Was that deliberate from your side?
Yes, because, and a lot of it is unraveled in book 3. There is history between the Prof and the Duchess, obviously. And the patriarch of the Ayo family, who is the Duchess' husband, is very aware of that history. And he also has a lot of information on the family. Being even from a more powerful, I'd say him being more wealthy than the Ayo. The patriarch knows that he can't step to this guy, he can't win a battle with this guy, and this guy has a lot of information on his wife and their finances, has shares in their company, has so much hold on them that at some point he just needs to step back a bit, and whatever that situation is with the Duchess and the Prof is for them to just sort of sort out on their own. But book 3 does go into a lot of detail as to how the Prof became so powerful towards the Ayo where they can't challenge him or nobody can talk back to him. So there was a case of blackmail there. Yeah.
Now the second character I want us to talk about, you also flipped it. There's a Linda who originally brought Okechukwu into the scene. There is Angela on the other hand, who is connected to Bella. Friends with Linda, definitely. But there is Angela on one side, and then there is Bella in the same corner. Now, in this other corner, we have Linda and Okechukwu. But what you did in the book, as we grow in the book, you find that while, in between all of the, schemings, Angela will come in and sit Bella down and say, hey, this is this. But we didn't find that with Linda and Okechukwu. You then give us an Okechukwu who could fly solo. Had no one to go back to say, look. Yeah, we know that in the book they were also pulling their strings to make sure that it comes out the senator. We know that. But talking from an Angela Bella kind of connect, one would have also expected Linda to play that with Okechukwu, which really didn't happen. Was that also deliberate?
Okay, so 2 things there. First of all, it's Bella's side of the story. So she's telling the story in first person. So we don't really know what happened, the conversations that went on behind the scene. And then the other thing is, we had already given context to say that Okechukwu really was not accountable to anybody, which is why his brother at some point cut him off financially.
Yes, exactly.
And he had to go and sort himself out. So he had already rebelled, and he was not accountable to anybody. There was nobody that was giving him advice or guiding him in life. So he was just out there making mistakes, doing whatever he wanted to do with his career, with his love life and everything. So in that context, I think it would have maybe even been difficult for Linda or his brother to sit him down and say, this Ayo family, leave these people alone, or whatever, or even told him how to treat Bella. I don't think he had any, he created any forum where anybody could sort of give him advice.
True.
And one of the things that we see there is eventually it's now somebody from outside, Angela's father, TK, that now tries to play that role at the end of the day, So, yeah.
All right, go out there, get the book. You find other characters that we didn't even mention at all. So many characters in this book, and then let us know what you think. We'll be going on a very short break. We need to suggest, can we take something from Wizkid? Wizkid is in your book anyway. Or do we do Michael Bolton? No. Tell us.
Who is the Wizkid now?
Yeah.
Holla the boy.
Wizkid.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Oh, that's a nice one. Holla at your boy. It seems Tony, I did some wonderful things with that song. I didn't say anything. All right, here comes Wizkid. Holla at your boy. This is from his first album. Yeah. Okay? We'll be back in a second. Do stay with us. We need to holler out your boy Wizkid when it started. That was is it the naive Wizkid or the impressionable Wizkid? I don't know. But then Wizkid is gone. I mean, he's no longer a kid, man. He's a Wiz Baba, you know. But then he's done us so many. He's done us proud. Wizkid, yeah. On the book on review tonight, we have a book titled The Ikoyi Princess. We should be closing right now. About now, yeah. And this one is again the second in the Ayo Kensington Love Story series. And this is taken from the Lagos Love Journals. We have the author Layemi O-I join us. And we've been discussing different parts of the book. We looked at characters, we read from it, Now, few things that you said in your book, let's have a discussion over it. Number one, you said in your book that this heart is small, but I've never been able to understand how it can take so much suffering and still go on beating. What does that mean?
Okay, I think I was just speaking in context of all the emotions that you experience in, the journey of love, and not even just love, even
not
life,
just love,
in
life
general,
in itself.
all your emotions, and to think that all of this is happening to one heart, and the heart just keeps on beating every second. I think is one of the wonders of God. How much you can take, and you still get up every day, and you're just going and going. It's really admirable.
Yeah. All right. You also say in your book that when a man sets a trap, he comes back to check what he has caught. What is that supposed to be?
I think that was the professor, right? So he had set a trap for his number one arch enemy, the Duchess. So he had to come back to check what he had caught.
Okay. You also say in your book that love is neither earned nor deserved. It's either accepted or rejected. What is that?
Okay, so I think that true love should be unconditional. And so sometimes it's like the love of a parent. No matter what your child does, it's your child. The love is unconditional. So you either accept or reject love, but there's really, if love is unconditional, then it's not something that you can earn. Even God's love for us, we don't really deserve it, but it's given to us benevolently anyway. Yeah, so.
All right, maybe two more. No, let's do one more. You say in your book that if you do not want to be with a broke man, you have to contend with a busy man.
I think that's a quotable quote from Angela. Yeah, so I think, this was her speaking to Bella, and, but it's true.
It is true.
A man that is, financially comfortable would be busy. Yeah, and so you have to be understanding at some point of his career journey to know that he can't always be present as much as you want. So, and even for women as well, women who are chasing active careers as well. Yeah.
Okay. Great to know that. Yeah. A few themes that your book drive on. If you're to discuss two, what themes would it be?
I think it would be how past traumas can affect your entire outlook on life.
True.
And then it will also be redemption. Like, nobody is a complete, I don't know the word to use. You can't give up on people. Yeah. All it takes is for one person to believe in that person and just give them the support they need, the encouragement, the guidance, and then you can have a completely different person, like what we saw happen with Okechukwu. So I think my two themes would be the impact that past traumas can have if they are unresolved, and also redemption for people who have strayed.
Where is in this book? There's something that you discussed on, you talked on, which is forgiveness. Where is the place of forgiveness in the entire mix? And I'm asking this because in your book, in this particular book, you find that eventually the secrets are coming out. And one thing that comes with opening a can of worms is there must be a form of closure.
Yeah.
Now, closures would not happen if there are no if people are not forgiving.
Yeah.
So where is the place of forgiveness in this? Because again, you talked about the power of second chance. There can be a second chance if there is no forgiveness. Yes, if there's no forgiveness. So how can we throw in forgiveness in this book?
I think that sometimes it's not sometimes, all the time
All
it's,
the time,
it's
yeah.
hard to forgive. But you need to realize that when you forgive, you're not just doing it for the person that hurt you, you're also doing it for yourself. Because again, I just spoke about past traumas. A lot of traumas come from holding on to resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness. And I think there have even been studies to show how even unforgiveness can begin to affect your physical health. So I think forgiveness is very important. And I've read a quote somewhere that says marriage is a union of two forgivers. And it's not just marriage. Any relationship requires forgiveness. You know that people are going to do things, even when they don't mean to hurt you, that will hurt you. But sometimes when you let them go, you are actually freeing yourself. You are the prisoner in your own forgiveness, not the other person. Because the other person may just be living their best life and not even realize they've done anything to you. And you are there holding on to so much, hurt and bitterness. So I think that forgiveness is actually very, very important in, moving forward in life.
Why is it that some of us that have gone through something, some other people will tell you that someone that's been poor before and now has money will fight and make sure that it doesn't go poor again. When that happens, and we're not just taking that, we're just looking at that in context, but in context of the entire, who we are as humans. Why is it that it's so hard for us to come through a stage, and then and now we've transcended that stage? We are now, amongst the power players. Why is it that when we find what our past used to be, we fight it with everything that we have? Does it remind? I don't know, because we see that a lot in the book. But one thing that this book has done is to also break it, to also say that, look, you can't run away from who you are. But away from this book, why are we like that? Is it that that's the way we're wired? Once we come through a stage and we're better people. And that's why I said I don't want to take this contest, but contest. Let me give you another contest. My friend, very good friend, we sleep on the same mats, not even on bed, mats. That's how life started for us. And then from there we bought a bed. We started sleeping on a bed. From one room, we moved into a flat. That means we've come a long way. Yeah. While we were laying on the mat, we probably had maybe Gary and Ekpa. You understand? Maybe Moi Moi and Pap. And suddenly we move into a flat. From a flat, you would find that the moment he becomes a governor, no, that's too much. A local government chairman, I can no longer get him on phone. So you see another contest that I've also brought into it. Why are we like that?
I think a lot of people don't like to be reminded of where they are coming from. I think some people go through a stage of life and they want to shut the door and never remember that they ever went through that. You see people who maybe evolve, or people who become something from a poor background, like you said, or people who have overcome, maybe they were trying to look a certain way and they now lost the weight, and they are not even empathic to people who are still going through that journey. It's almost like, I've moved on, you to do it, and then you're forgetting how difficult it was when you were going through that journey. So I think that it's a thing of principle, and character is not really something that you can change in people. You can only advise, right? I think that a lot of people just don't want to be reminded of where they are coming from, and so they act like that never existed. But every part of your story actually enriches, your story at the end of the day. So every stage contributes to making your story.
So it's also
richer.
fair to say that we also see that in our politicians, who are like you and I. The moment they get into big office, they no longer see us as. Sure, you understand. But I want to thank you for this, Tonya. You can just feel free to come in anytime you want to come. Great book you have. Where can we find this book to get?
Okay, it's available at Roving Heights, Book Nook, Terra Culture, Book Peddlers, Booksellers, and if you're in the diaspora, it's available on Amazon. So it's in all major bookstores in Nigeria and on Amazon.
We will forgive you if these books don't get to become a movie. We will not forgive you. Yeah.
I take the challenge.
Yeah, I like that. We'll rate books over 10. What can we rate this? Maybe we'll start with Tonya. Yeah, we'll start with you. So let's see what you
Lekki Bride gave us a 10 over 10. So I'll go for 8 over 10 for Ikoyi
8. Yes,
Princess.
8 is fair. 8 is fair. So 8 over 10.
Thank you.
All right, I
very
want to wish you the very best. Who is Layemi O-I?
Okay, in my day job, I'm a C-suite executive in advertising at an agency called Atlantic. And of course, at night, I moonlight as a fiction author.
I like that. At night and moonlight. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, I want to thank you. What's your SM handles so we can... And by the way, all of these things that we've done today is on our Instagram page live. We'll also be connecting with you. What can we connect with?
On Instagram, at the Lagos Love Journals and at Layemi Olusoga.
I'm a 6-year-old now. I don't know.
At the Lagos Love Journals on Instagram.
Okay.
And then my personal handle is Layemi Olusoga.
Olusoga.
Yes.
I want to thank you. Thank you so very much. Okay. What song are we ending with? Michael Bolton?
Yes, please.
Because
That'll be
in
nice.
your book.
Yes.
And he's When a Man for
Loves a woman.
Loves a woman. Yeah. All right. Thank you so very much. And that's it. We want to thank you, the listener. Thank you. You watch out for next week. Next week we'll be having the last in this series. And guess what? We'll be giving out prizes for next week. We'll be giving out stuff for next week. We'll be giving out books. You never know. We just might be giving out airtime. Just all you need to do is to log on. Now, let me give you a little bit of some expo. Some of the things that we have discussed today and last week will be the questions that we'll be asking for next week. So remember some of the things that you heard today. Okay? So I want to thank you. All right? Makes a rebound next Saturday. Thank you and God bless.